technique and range of motion for the bending movements, the main thing we want to focus on is that we're bending from the hips and even the knees instead of the spine. So if you've ever heard, lift with your knees, not your back, it's kind of where this comes from. So we don't want to bend and articulate in the spine itself. We want to only bend in the hip joint and the knee joint. So you want to really focus on keeping the back straight throughout the whole movement. And that's cue number one, back straight. You can think of either lifting the chest up, pulling the shoulders back, sticking the butt out. These are different ways of kind of cueing ourselves to get that ultimate end goal of back being straight, but that's the thing you want to focus on. However you get there, back is straight. So I'll do this from the side because it's a lot easier to see. So keeping that back straight, keeping good posture, we're going to send the hips back, we're going to stick the butt out, we're going to bend forward because we're flexing at the hips, and we're going to go down as far as we can with the hips while that back stays straight. So at some point, if I want to keep bringing my chest down or my arms down, especially if I'm picking up weight, I might start to bend at the spine. And where that happens is dependent a lot on your flexibility. So this is the range of motion side of it. Always getting the maximum range of motion while maintaining our good technique. So keeping the back straight, thinking of bending at the hips. We're going to go down as low as we can. Once we get to that point where the back would start to bend, now is where we can really engage the knees and we can get ourselves down to a lower position. So if we're picking up weights as we were doing in the deadlift exercise. If it's just the good morning, for example, this is a nice one to keep the posture, the chest open, but same thing. So back straight, bend at the hips, and actually think of keeping the weight back in the heels. Those are your three cues for the technique side of bending. Range of motion, again, as low as you can, maintaining that technique. So if I'm going to bend down and pick up these weights, stick the butt back, keep the back straight, bend at the knees, and then pick up from there, getting nice and tall so that I realign my position where my shoulders, hips, and ankles are in a nice straight line at the top. Now, again, your flexibility, your strength, depending on what you're doing, is going to be the limiting factor, and we're always looking at that balance of technique and range of motion. So you want to go as low as you can, keeping good technique, but pushing that boundary so that you can improve it and ultimately have both. So it's never necessarily a priority of like perfect technique without any range of motion. We're getting full range of motion with terrible technique. We want both. We want to get full range of motion with perfect technique, and that's what we're going for. So focus on that as you're doing these bending exercises. The stretching and other supplemental exercises and movements that you'll be doing will help with that, but those are the cues and the focus for your technique and range of motion in the bending exercises.